Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Beld, and it's my privilege to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. Today, I am joined by Dr. Star Rivera-Lacey, Superintendent, President of Palomar Community College District. Prior to serving in this role, Dr. Rivera-Lacey held positions including serving as the first Vice President of Student Services at the San Diego College of Continuing Education, and as the Assistant Superintendent Vice President of Student Services at Palomar College. She's also served as the Dean of Counseling and Student Services at SDCCU, held leadership roles in various student support services, and was tenured counseling faculty at San Diego Mesa College. Dr. Rivera-Lacey currently serves as adjunct faculty in the university system. Her professional accomplishments also include being named a Fellow of the 2023 Wheelhouse Institute on Leadership, an Aspen Institute Rising President's Fellow, and a National Community College Hispanic Council Fellow. She was born and raised in Oceanside and is proud to have started her post-secondary education at a community college. In addition to a bachelor's degree in liberal studies from Cal State University San Marcos and a master's degree in education with an emphasis in multicultural counseling from San Diego State University, Dr. Rivera-Lacey earned her Ph.D. in education from the San Diego State Claremont Graduate University Joint Doctoral Program. Welcome, Dr. Rivera-Lacey.
Thank you.
So I had a hard time getting through your bio because it's so accomplished. You've done so much already, and I feel like you're just getting started. This is exciting.
Excited. Yeah, it's funny when you read that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did that.
Well, when you're racking up the accomplishments, it's easy to forget them because you've got so many. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. So I want to start by kind of understanding, how did you get here? So tell me a little bit about your background and your journey that led you to Palomar College in this role, please.
Well, it's kind of interesting because in a lot of ways, it's kind of been full circle for me. And what I mean by that is that my parents, they immigrated from El Salvador because they were looking for a better life, right? And something to be able to provide better opportunities for their children. And so at the time they immigrated, they settled in Oceanside, California. And they realized also that they needed to really command of the English language if they were going to be successful here. So they started taking classes, guess where? Palomar College.
I love it.
Yeah, so they learned English at Palomar College. They took English as a second language classes at that point. And it's kind of cool. I have some pictures of me when I was about 4 or 5 running around campus. And so then to turn around and have the privilege of being the superintendent president of that same college, it's a very full circle moment. So I take my privilege, my responsibility very seriously because I know what an impact, that can make on a family. So it feels like I've come home in a lot of different ways. So when my parents immigrated from El Salvador, they already had 4 kids and they were not expecting to have any more. And one day my mom thought she had a cold. Come to find out it wasn't a cold. She was pregnant with me. So I was actually born in Oceanside. And I grew up in Oceanside. I went through the public school system, which really gave me a really great foundation. But my parents, because they had that immigrant reality, there were times that it was a bit of a struggle as they were acclimating to a new country, and we dealt with some issues of poverty, et cetera. But luckily, the product of a public school system in Oceanside, graduated from high school, and it was my senior year. And I was short a PE credit.
Oh, no. PE will get you every time. It was the
full semester, and my counselor calls me in and says, Star, you're doing great, but you're not going to graduate because you're a PE credit short. And I was like, what? And so I ended up going to Miracosta Community College for that PE credit. Best thing that could have ever happened to me, because while I was there, I was able to get into a program called EOPS, which is for low-income first-generation students and helping them be successful. And so what happened is right when I graduated from high school, I already had the experience of being at the community college. So I went ahead and did my time at Miracosta it's truly the place that set the foundation for me. From there, I went on to Cal State University San Marcos. And again, just the right fit at the right time. It was local. It felt like it was my backyard. Felt very, very comfortable there. And then at that point, I was like, well, what's the next step? And so I ended up at San Diego State University, got my master's degree in counseling. Loved it, and then went on to get my Ph.D., as you said, in education from Claremont Graduate University in San Diego State. But I tell everybody that if it wasn't for a community college, that Ph.D. would have never happened, because you just don't know what you don't know when you're first generation. What I tell people, it's like going into 31 flavors, right? And all you've ever known in your life is, say, vanilla and chocolate. And you walk in and somebody says, what's your favorite flavor? You just don't even know what you don't know. And the beauty of what the community college gave me is it exposed me to those other 29 flavors to explore of what I wanted to do. So yeah, we'll talk more, but I'm a big fan of the community college system.
Well, that leads me to my next question is in addition to the exposure, there's also something to be said for understanding how to navigate the process and the systems. And that seems to be something where a lot of students that I see, that I come across through my work or in the things that I do for volunteering, they don't know how to navigate the systems, and they don't know how to apply for this or how to register for that. So what was that experience like? Did you feel like because you had that program that you had someone walking you through those processes?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
It was that support system. What we've seen in the community college, I would think over the past 4 years, but I would say very intentionally over the past 10 years, is that we recognize when students come that the instruction is extremely important. The academic rigor is important. But what we were finding is that the challenges that students were facing outside of the classroom was hindering their success. So that's where the student services component. So you have the instruction and the student services component working together. So for example, counseling falls on the student services side of the house, outreach, student services side of the house. And it's really what we're doing now at the community college is really working both the instruction and the student services to give students a holistic way of a support system inside and outside of the classroom for them to be successful. And I would say that's been a paradigm shift in the last 10 years. And what's really interesting is now we also have another layer that we're doing, and that is recognizing the basic needs. So that's another component that's coming, that it's something that we've, again, seen an uptick in the last 10 years. We're dealing with students who are dealing with issues of housing, just issues of food insecurity, and so what we're doing now is that we're expanding our student services to some of the basic needs, and we're making sure that our students are able to have that support system, whether it's, we have a nutrition center at Palomar College, and again, many of the community colleges have this. So although, I favor Palomar College, it's really important that folks know that all the community colleges are engaged in this, because we know in order for a student to be successful, we really need to give them that support system. So, for example, we have a nutrition center where students can get nutritious food. One thing that I'm really proud of at Palomar College is that we have these mini fridges throughout the campuses and our centers where, if you're sitting there waiting for a counseling appointment and you're hungry, there's a mini fridge that you can go over there and get a snack, and nobody's going to ask you questions. Nobody's going to look at you sideways.
That's so powerful.
Right? Because we don't want the stigma attached to it. Yeah. Right? And we do hygiene products. We do diapers. It's really of how do we help students during their time that they're with us, so that they can go out and make a livable wage and then, contribute to the community.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. We're seeing that at all levels of education, really, that schools are becoming more than come to school. Yeah. And more than learn your ABCs, more than education. It's those wraparound things, because you can't learn if you're hungry. Right. You can't come to school if you didn't sleep last night because you didn't have a place to sleep. So I think that's really wise. And I'm glad to hear that the community college system and all of our educational systems are really embracing that whole hierarchy of needs, that you can't get to the top if you don't take care of the
hierarchy of needs. You got it.
Exactly. Okay. So, I want to ask you, you talked a little bit about it, but what exactly is Palomar College and who does it serve?
Oh, well, what I really love about Palomar Community College District, a lot of people don't know, we have a service area it's actually bigger than the size of Delaware, the state of Delaware.
Wow.
So over 2,500 square miles.
Okay.
So it's a large service area.
Okay.
We have our flagship campus at the San Marcos campus.
Okay.
And then we have a campus at Rancho Bernardo, Escondido, Fallbrook, and we do a lot of work on Camp Pendleton as well.
I did not know this.
Oh yeah. We have offsite locations.
Wow, and I feel like I know a lot of things. So I just learned something. Wow, so many locations. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
okay.
We have offsite locations as well. In fact, we even do classes at the Vista Detention Facility. Okay. So we are really here to serve. When we say it's the community college district, we are part of the community. I call it the place of a million chances. You can just keep coming. We have something for everyone. We have over 200 certificates and degrees that we hand out, majors and, again, certificates and degrees that you can engage with. And it's just, again, it's so important that we're part of the community. We are actually 77 years old. 77 years old.
You don't look that old at all. And I say that joke because the chamber's 100 this year, and people are like, you don't look 100. So I'm like, eye cream. It's eye cream. But yeah, 77. That's great. So serving our community for so long.
Yeah.
Well, so I know that the Palomar, there are recent high school grads, adults, people in transition, even maybe retired or senior folks looking for opportunities to expand their horizons. So really for everybody.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So the majority of our students are between 18 and 24.
Okay.
And also, surprisingly, the majority of our students are part-time students.
Okay.
So people sometimes don't recognize that because
you have to work.
That's what I tell people, right? So I think a lot of times people used to think, well, if I'm going to school full-time, then I can't work, and how to navigate that. And so I think it's always important to say, we have a lot of students that are coming, taking 2 classes part-time with it. But you know what? Every semester that you're taking part-time, you're going to get to that end, right? And and about 25,000 students at any given time. And so, we're a big organization. And again, we have all walks of life of folks coming back, folks that are coming after retirement, folks that are, we have 63 feeder high schools. So we do a lot of work with our local high schools. And
so tell me about Palomar Promise, because that's a partnership with the schools, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Palomar Promise is probably what I like to say is our crown jewel. We offer first-time students, again, no matter, regardless of age, right? First-time students, 2 years of free college.
Wow.
Yeah, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove any type of barriers for students, for them to come. So, that has been something that Palomar has been engaged in. It's been super successful, and we're really, really proud of that. And again, really trying to remove those barriers so students can come. And the other thing, too, is we've been very intentional because we know that textbooks can be a barrier. And so we've been very intentional on how to mitigate the prices of textbooks, doing what we call zero textbook cost, using open educational resources so that students don't necessarily have to pay for those books, for those materials. A lot of our faculty are using that. Our instruction teams have been awesome in trying to facilitate that. But we also do free books for those students. So, and if you're a high school student, zero tuition. So it's a win-win all the way around.
That's amazing. How is a program like that funded?
You know what? It's a combination of federal funds, state funds, and local funds.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've actually done some fundraising as well. So it's a combination and how we leverage those funds to be able to do that.
I would think it would take a combination of efforts to make such a big impact like that. So that's great.
Yeah, and that's regardless of, I think that's important to understand that no matter what your income is, because a lot of people think it's just for individuals who are low income, but it doesn't matter what your income is. The promise is for anybody.
Anybody. Okay. Yes. Listen up out there. It's for anybody. Okay. Tell me about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion policies at Palomar, and how do you ensure that everybody belongs?
Well, I think Palomar has been very, even in our mission statement, we're very intentional when we say that we have something for everybody. Mm-hmm. But part of it, too, is making sure that people feel comfortable. And we know that there are historically marginalized student populations that don't necessarily have the same success. So what we're doing is identifying what those populations are and seeing what type of support systems we can do. And we can give those individuals to be able, those groups, to be able to get them to the finish line as well. And so we've been very intentional in how we do that, and inclusivity. That I and the DEI has been critical for us because it's about giving everybody the opportunity to be successful, because we're all part of the same community. And so we all win. When all of us win, we all win. Mm-hmm. And making sure that we are, again, looking at the data, looking at the metrics to make sure that when we say we're serving our community, we're not only serving parts of our community. And then also Palomar, we have added that last piece for accessibility.
Okay.
So
good.
We're really, really being intentional with our students who may learn differently, mm-hmm. And how do we provide them support systems for them also to be successful.
That's really important. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. So what's the best part of your work?
Oh, I'm one of those people that I get to wake up every day and I'm happy to go to work. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to go to work because when you see the impact in a real world way, where students who are coming who may have limited opportunities by their circumstance of birth, right, are literally able to change the trajectory of their lives. Because the beauty of where I've been working at the community college system for over 24 years, I think last time I counted. So now I have a lot of students that I started working with 24 years ago, and seeing the heights that they've reached and knowing that it all started at a community college. That's the best part of my job, to kind of see the investment that we make in students and the investment they make in themselves, how it pays out in dividends. And then to turn around and be able to say, this is affordable for everybody. It's like having this amazing gift that you get to give to everybody.
It's like Santa Claus.
It really is. It really is. And then just to see how people grow as they go through the process of education. And I can't say enough about my job, that I literally wake up every day and I feel like we're making a positive impact in so many people's lives. For example, I got to gush about this more. Like, we have first responder programs at Palomar, and these first responder programs, they stayed open during COVID.
Well, we need first responders, particularly during a pandemic.
Right. So, our nursing programs, our police academy, our fire academy. We're able to, you see these people come into these programs. And then, they have a job before they even leave us. And so just recently, I had gone to a pinning ceremony for our paramedics and so forth. And again, they have jobs before they're even graduating. And these are livable wages. And so that it's not only going to make a difference for the student, but their family, mm-hmm. Who are in the audience cheering. Mm-hmm. And the other part of it, too, is that commencement is like every year is like the biggest party and the biggest reminder that what you do on a daily basis has long-term impacts. And interestingly enough, I'll be at a street fair, I'll be anywhere, right? And if I have my Palomar hoodie or something, folks don't know who I am, right? But they'll be like, hey, Palomar, and they'll tell me a story about Palomar. So it's after 77 years, it's a big community out there. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and I do think people know who you are.
Okay.
I know who you are.
Thank you.
You're very popular. So, obviously, you have passion for the work that you do that shines through, but there are hard things.
Yeah.
So can you share something that's maybe hard about the work that you do, or something that is difficult?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be difficult moments and difficult times. But I think if you know what your purpose is, and I talk to my students, I'm still in the classroom. That's my side gig, I tell people, but I'm very intentional about staying in the classroom so I can keep a pulse on where students are and what they're facing. And because if I'm in the classroom and I'm exposed to students and know what they're facing, then when as an administrator, I have more information to make those decisions. The pandemic, of course, that had, in a lot of ways, we're still running 2 colleges, right? Your brick and mortar college, but we also have online, then we have the hybrid, and how to deal with, again,
resources
I know COVID is still out there, but coming through that pandemic and getting back to operations, traditional operations, and then keeping what we learned, right, from the pandemic. And then how do we leverage that and integrate that into what it is that we're doing now? Because in some ways, we're now even more accessible than we were pre-pandemic. And so we want to make sure that we keep that, especially for working adults. But so again, there's always difficulties that happen. But I think if you can remember your purpose, right? And again, times like commencement, right? When you see these students, transferring on to the university or going into the workforce, it helps ground you. And so it's almost like you can deal with whatever it is because you know the purpose. And I would say that that's what Palomar has. And in fact, not just Palomar, I really want to give a shout out to MiraCosta and CSUSM. Because one thing about North County is that Dr. Cook at MiraCosta and Dr. Neufeld at CSUSM, you have 3 women who are leading higher ed in North County. And what's beautiful about it is that we have a relationship with each other. You
seem like besties.
It's just so cool because there's no competition, right? Yeah. It's like we're all clear on our purpose and how do we work together. So it's a synergy that also happens in North County with us at the helm at this moment in time. So again, we also have each other to rely on. And if something's happening and something's difficult, right, I have 2 resources with individuals who may be dealing with some of the same things. So yeah, it's just like anything else. When something's difficult, right, you start to find those places that can help be resources for you and support systems for you. So yeah, it's every day there might be something that's difficult, but again, it's that long-term goal.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to have peers.
At J&R Auto Body and Paint, you don't have to worry about a thing. From minor dents and dings to major collision repair, we offer a worry, hassle-free experience with superior customer service. Our auto claim advisors work directly with your insurance company, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. Our certified technicians work on all makes and models to get your repair done right the first time. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty. Locally and family-owned, J&R Auto Body is here to serve the community. Call us today at 760-724-4923.
Hi, it's Carrie from Solitude Home in Vista, California. If you're looking for ways to brighten and cool your home, we are your natural light and fresh air experts. We offer a selection of daylighting and ventilation products to help make your home beautiful and comfortable. And the best part of all is you won't be using any electricity to brighten up. We can bring beautiful, natural light into those dark spaces in your home, transforming them into beautifully lit spaces in less than 2 hours. No mess, no fuss, just amazing natural light to make your home look and feel great. If you're looking to cool off your home, we have a complete line of ventilation products to keep your home and garage cool. We want to make cooling and refreshing your home easier and more energy efficient than ever with our line of whole house fans, solar attic fans, and garage fans. Our certified installers carry the full line of Solitude daylighting and ventilation products on their vans at all times. Installation can usually be done in about 2 hours. No messy drywall, paint repair, structural changes, or re-roofing needed. It's pretty much the easiest home improvement project you'll ever take on. At Solitude Home, we offer no obligation appointments throughout Southern California. Visit our website at solitudehome.com or stop by our showroom conveniently located in Vista at 2210 Oak Ridge Drive, or give us a call, 619-375-1629. We look forward to brightening your day.
For more than 60 years, Tri-City Medical Center has been committed to advancing the health and wellness of the community we serve. With leading-edge emergency care, including top-rated heart and stroke programs, advanced orthopedics, primary care, obstetrics, and neonatal care, Tri-City stands at the ready when you need us most. Learn more at tricitymed.org.
And I want to just highlight something that you said about from the pandemic about Palomar keeping the things that worked and learning from that. And I think that's really, that's one of the common themes in this podcast is that resiliency. That resiliency isn't just getting back to normal. It's really about getting back to better than you were before.
Yeah.
And I really feel like the organizations, the businesses, and the people that I talk to on this podcast and that I meet daily, the ones that have come back better, that's resilience. And then, there are some that struggle and I'm not saying anything bad about them. It's just, it's a different experience whenever you can come back and really learn and keep the things that worked and come back better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, who are you talked about your partners at the other educational institutes, but who are some of your other partners and maybe how can chamber members partner with Palomar?
Well, one of the things that, I love the idea of the community college, right? Because what we also do is we have our business partners. So a lot of our students, when they're coming out, of course, they're going into the workforce, right? And so it's really important. So we have a lot of community members that serve on our foundation. We have advisory groups for, our different career technical education groups. So there's quite a lot of energy around our business partners. And again, we have our educational partners, but we even have our government partners, right? So the idea of community, it really is when everybody coming together and working for a common purpose. I would say that that's probably what keeps our academic standards so high is that we are really, really clear about what industry needs at this moment in time. So that's super helpful for us because then that makes sure that our curriculum is up to speed in order for students to then seamlessly transition into that workforce. So I'm telling you, there are too many to name, but it's something that we're constantly doing. That's why you see me out everywhere. I have an inward-facing part of my job, but the other external-facing, and that is making sure that everybody knows what Palomar has to offer. And then one of the things that we've been really fortunate about is that in those partnerships, there have been times where we realized that we needed to adjust in order to make sure that our students were prepared. And so like our auto technology program is one. So, we're going to electric vehicles, we're moving in a different direction. And so we have our advisory groups that work with us. And so there's a lot of partnership that has to happen to make sure that we're meeting the educational needs of the area.
So if there are businesses or industries that want to engage with Palomar, how could they do that? Who would they contact?
So actually, I tell people to always come to me because I'm the easiest one to find on the website.
Okay.
And what I do is that I know when it comes through, I filter it real quickly and I know who to move it and where it goes to. My biggest thing is you'll see I'm very hands-on because what I want to make sure that there's also the follow-through that happens because, I think it's really, really important. And it also gives me a sense of where the need is and what's coming. So, so there's a whole... there's 1,600 employees. There's a lot of exactly. Yeah. So you can literally Google, Office of the President, Palomar College. There's a website there. There's an email there, and then yes, I tell folks, and I actually respond.
I was just going to say, I cannot believe how quickly you respond to emails. I can't imagine how many emails a day that you get, and I don't know how in the world. I think you must have a clone or extra thumbs or I don't know, but you respond to people very, very quickly. At least you respond to me quickly. So I appreciate that. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to just ask point blank, what do you do? What does a day look like in your job?
So again, there's the internal, right,
Right.
and the external. And the beauty about my job that every day is different. So, for example, next week's classes start on
Right.
Monday. So today, for example, I got to do the introduction of his name is Dr. Frank Harris, who came and talked to us about how to infuse our curriculum, making sure that we're doing, diversity, equity, and inclusion. How do we embed that in our curriculum? And so this morning, I got to introduce him, and we're ramping up. And Friday is our plenary. I call it our big pep rally to kick off of the semester. But then this afternoon, here I am. So I'm inward facing, externally facing, and it really is. And of course, there's the regular stuff, right? So I'm looking at our enrollment number, seeing where we're at, right? Looking even down to class cancellations. But the beauty is that I have a team around me that's their job to do certain areas. And I'm just trying to make sure that vision and keeping the ship moving towards that goal, and then addressing any issues that might come up. And again, the gamut of issues can just be,
Multifaceted.
no day is the same.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. And then you see, I have a social media presence as well. And I worked a lot with our public information officer and what is our marketing strategy, and again, what's our outreach. And yeah, there's not like one area. But I love my job because it's all around promoting education.
That's great. I have to tell you also, so you're really active on social media. You have a great social media following, and I'll make sure to tag it in the show notes so people can follow you. But you actually inspired me to create my own professional Instagram account for me at the chamber, because I have a lot of people asking to follow my personal account.
Yeah.
That's where I post pictures of my kids,
Yes,
or
exactly.
things that not that I don't mind sharing pictures of my kids publicly sometimes, but not everything I want to necessarily share with my mom do I want to share with the public. And so I created a page, and recently inspired by you. So thank you for that. You gave me that idea. Okay. So you talked about your inward-facing role, external-facing role. Can you tell me just really quickly, how does that involve the board?
Oh, okay. So the board of trustees, so there's 5 board of trustees, and they're my bosses, right? So any 3 at any given time, they're really the policy. They set policy.
And budget?
Yes, they do have oversight of budget, but it's really, and I do the operational piece. So I'm their only employee. So it's a very interesting relationship that we have.
Well, that's similar to me with my board. I'm the only employee, and then I oversee everyone else. It's just a much smaller, much sliced, tinier piece. But yes, so I understand that dynamic.
Yeah, so they set policy. So they tell me the what, right? And I do the how.
Okay.
So that's how that goes. And they're elected, and there's 5 of them, and they're from areas. They're elected in areas, and it's interesting because we have a relatively new board. So it brings in certain energy as well, right?
And you have a student rep as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. It's a non-voting member, but they have an advisory vote.
Yeah.
Yes, because that student voice is the part that I keep saying is absolutely critical. We can think we're doing a really good job, but if it's not what students need, then we're being tone deaf, and we really need to make sure that we're serving the needs of our students. So yes, so we do have a advisory, and that position changes every year as well. And again, it's the board that we have right now are really well-intended folks that really care about education and are very supportive. And so, I can't say enough about the importance of having a board that truly believes in the power of education. That's super
great.
excited about that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you mentioned school starting soon.
Yes.
And actually, when this episode airs, school will have already started. Mm-hmm. So do you have any advice for students as they start their college years?
Yes.
Success tips, anything like that.
Right. And just in case somebody hears this and says, oh my goodness, I missed the window and I can't go in the fall semester, we have short-term classes too.
Okay.
Right. So they start a little later in the semester, so you could still come. And as far as advice, I would say in my own experience, as I was going through the community college, I was also working full time. I mean, there was other realities in my life. And there were some semesters, I got through by the hair on my chinny chin chin, right? And the biggest advice I can give to students is just show up. Just keep showing up. The road will rise to meet you, and you will find people that truly are invested in you being successful. And just show up. And that's my biggest thing. And if you happen to trip, you didn't get a chance to finish the semester for whatever reason, come back. Come back. There is no judgment on our part. And we're just going to say, okay, and going to readjust your educational plan and get you to the next step, because there are very few things in life that I'm certain about. But I am certain that if you invest in your education, it will pay out in dividends. Mm-hmm. And whether it's a 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever your investment, it will change the trajectory of your life, and it will give you tools and experiences beyond your wildest dreams. And I think that's sometimes people think, that's going to take so long. But the reality is time's going to pass anyways. So you're either going to be, I'll use my own age, 53 with a degree or 53 with no degree. Mm-hmm. And so that is, I will tell you that I've had moments in my life, for example, standing on top of the Eiffel Tower, and I thought, it's my degree that got me here. Nothing else would have given me this opportunity. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it too is what we're seeing. There's a really big trend right now on students coming to get, again, the career technical education piece, to be able to go out after a year and go out into the workforce. There's a real big focus on the workforce. And we're also seeing students that may come, they may do plumbing with us, they may do welding, they have a job before they're finishing, right? But then again, we work with our business partners to make sure the students complete. And then, we have internship programs, apprenticeship programs. But we're also seeing that students then are coming back and now are interested in perhaps transferring to the four-year university. So they had never seen themselves as a college student, and now they are. So yeah. And I'm gonna one more thing, and if you can cut it if we don't have enough time. But
no, you say all the things.
I'm so excited about this one, particularly having grown up in Oceanside next to Camp Pendleton, right? So we have a military leadership program, and this is just another one that is just amazing, and that is that we're working with our service folks, right, and giving them credit, right, for their real world experience in the military.
So important. I love this. I have to clap.
Yeah, because, so many times, right, folks who were in the military one day.
Maybe you're a medic.
Doing amazing things, in charge of huge responsibilities. And the next day that they were out, they were struggling to find jobs or whatever the case. It didn't count.
Yeah.
And so what we've been able to do is we're working through our military leadership program. And I'm telling you, we have students that had never seen themselves as college students. They started at Palomar, and we got some students working on their master's degrees right now.
I love it.
It's amazing. And we're doing it in 29 Palms. And it's growing. It's growing faster than we can keep up. But if I really wanted to put that out there, because if anybody, is in the military right now and trying to think, okay, what's the future going to be, come check us out at Palomar College.
I love that. Okay. Is there anything else we didn't talk about? Anything? I mean, there's so much to talk about. I feel like we could go for another hour. So is there anything else that jumps to your mind? Like, oh, I really wish I had talked about this.
Okay. There's one more.
Okay, good.
So we have another program too for anybody who's been formerly incarcerated, or has been impacted in any way through the justice system. And so again, I mentioned earlier, we're doing classes at the Vista Detention Facility, but we're really trying to work on recidivism and how do we use education in order to be able to ameliorate some of that. So it's an amazing program called Transitions Program. In fact, we have a documentary out right now that our Palomar College TV did, and it won an Emmy. And so,
amazing.
Yeah, so that's going to be... I was
just going to ask about the documentary.
Yes.
Can people find it? How can you view it?
We're working on distribution, some other things, but we are having some showings and so forth. And we're using it as an educational.
Okay, because it's still kind of in the film festival circuit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so it's
yes.
not widely available yet. I saw a trailer and I cried.
Yes.
So I'm ready to see the whole thing. So I really want to see it. So
correction, there's 2 Emmys that we won for that
2.
one. But but the
make
point
sure you
is,
mention that.
so that's what I wanted to let know, that we have something for everybody, and a place of a million chances.
Yeah. Well, your passion for Palomar and for education and for students really shines through. I'm a first generation college graduate as well. Got my degree when I was 29. And if it hadn't, I had started school right out of high school, took a break. And if it hadn't been for a supervisor sitting me down and saying, "You're really smart, you're going places, but I can't promote you anymore unless you have a degree." And I said, "Okay, I'll get my degree," because I thought it was done. I thought it was over. I thought my chance was done, right? And I went back, and that changed the trajectory of my life as well, in so many ways. So I completely relate to the story that you shared and the story that a lot of your students share. So thank you for sharing all of that with me today. I do have a few last questions for you. My rapid fire questions I ask all of my guests. So tell me a book you think everyone should read, or a book that's been really impactful in your life.
Yeah. For me, it's The Giving Tree. It's,
a good one.
It's Shel Silverstein. To this day, it is, again, one of my favorite books. And I know folks can interpret it in different ways, but I think it really speaks to my purpose in this world and what it is that I'm trying to do through education, and now to be in this position to be able to do that. So The Giving Tree, real big one for me. Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up on that one.
I love that one. Okay. Tell me your jam. What's a song that you love, a song that moves you?
Oh.
And I know it's hard because I'm really into music, so it's hard. Every day the answer's different. But today, what's a song that speaks to you that you want to let everyone know that you love?
Oh gosh. Okay. This one's a hard one. Because so I'm really big into karate. I'm really big into martial arts. Like, that's my thing.
Okay.
It just keeps me centered. It just everything, the high stress job. It truly centers me in everything that I do. And it's Okinawan folk songs.
Okay.
It is like a combination of them, because my karate sensei, she plays it when we're actually, practicing and stuff. So it's just, it's Okinawan folk music.
So it centers you.
It does.
Gives you focus.
It absolutely gives me focus
I love
right now.
That. It doesn't have to be a party song.
It's And so, if right now I were to hear it, it just puts me in a very just really centered space. That's
important. It's important to have a space where you can be centered. And that's so cool that music can do that. Isn't music so powerful that it can do all of these things?
Agreed.
That's so cool. Okay. So tell me something that inspires you.
Other than my job, right? I mean, that gives me all kinds of energy and everything. The other part is, I'm going to say, my karate, right, is my martial arts. And what inspires me about that is that, particularly the studio that I'm going to, Yamashita Martial Arts, what's really amazing about it is that folks from all walks of life can be there. And again, there's a space for everybody, and it's about the intentionality and the purpose of when you get out on that. And it's just the only thing that you need to conquer is yourself. Right. And so that's a really, really big piece for me. And it's a place of acceptance. And I've never left the floor not feeling powerful, feeling, complete and centered. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think you just maybe inspired me to look at some karate. That's pretty cool. Okay. Last question. A Vista business you think deserves a shout out?
Vista Community Clinic. Let me tell you that even growing up in North County, right, the good that they have done and the good that they continue to do, and still, referrals or whatever. It's in a business that I've admired for so long, and the leadership. And I can't say enough about the Vista Community Clinic, and also how it just really impacted the community in such a positive way. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you to our guest, Dr. Star Rivera-Lacey, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please tell a friend and subscribe. Help us move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Find us online at vistachamber.org.